Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Ashok. This video is the part of Apex Fundamentals series where I already have created one video which covers introduction of Apex, like what is Apex, how Apex work and how you can get started with Apex development. And today with this video, we are going to start programming fundamentals and we'll cover very basic and important programming topic, that is data type and variables. So let's start with the definition of data types, variables and constant. Now if we talk about data types, then it simply means type of data on which we work. Data types help program to know what kind of data is stored in a variable, and we can have data in multiple forms like numbers, characters, date, currency and image. So to work or store these data into Apex, there are many kind of data types we have, like integer, string, date and Boolean. Because as we have discussed in previous video, Apex is the strongly typed programming language, so we need to assign data into relevant type. And now let's understand this with the real-time example. So let's say if you want to store water and vegetables, then there will be two different containers for both of these. Like we will store water in a bottle and vegetables in a basket. And we can't store vegetables into water bottle, and at the other side, we can't store water into basket, right? So similarly in Apex, if you want to store any kind of data, then we have to select relevant data type for that, okay? And now if we talk about variables, then we can say variables are the named container that holds a value or data to be used in later part of program. If you want to store or hold any value in program, then we have to declare a variable with relevant data type and have to assign value into that variable. And that value can be changed at runtime, or we can say during the program execution, okay? And this is the example of variable. Like this integer is the data type and as is the name of variable and 25 is the value. So this is the syntax to declare any kind of variable in Apex. Like first we need to define data type, and it's depend on the data, like what kind of data we want to store. So in this case we wanted to store as a number, so we have used integer here. And after data type, we can specify the name of variable. So in our case, this is age, and with the help of assignment operator, we can assign value in that variable. So 25 is the value of age. And now in further part of program, if we want to access this age value, then we will just use this age variable, okay? And next we have constant. So constants are also same as variables. Like in constant also, we store values, but those values cannot be changed at runtime. And this is the example of constant. It is similar to variables, just need to add final keyword before data type. So if we have a requirement where value can be changed at runtime, then we will create a variable. Or if value will be same during entire program, then we can create constant, okay? So now I think we have fair idea about what are data types, variables and constants. And now let's discuss about what all kind of data types we have in Apex. So here we have different kind of data types like primitive, collections, sObjects, user defined data types and enums. So these all are the available data types in Apex, and as per our requirement, we have to select relevant type. Now let's discuss about each in detail, and let's start with the primitive data types. So in primitive data types category, we have these basic data types to store simple values. Like if you want to store numbers without decimal, either that is positive value or negative, then we should use integer as data type. And in Apex, integer has this range. So this is the range of negative values and this is the range of positive values. And this is how we can declare an integer variable. Like data type is integer and name is age and value is 25. And now let's say you have a requirement where you want to save value out of this range, more than this integer range, then in that case you can use long data type. So we can say long data type is similar to integer but larger in range. So if you have a requirement to store large numbers, then we should go with the long instead of integer. And now if you want to work with numbers which has decimal places, then we have two options here, double or decimal. So if we are working with financial or currency data, then we should use decimal. because in decimal we can store more numbers after dot instead of double. But if you want to work with large numbers, then we should go with double. So in case where values after decimal doesn't matter, then we can go with double. And if values after decimal are important, like amount, then we should go with decimal. Okay. And in case if you want to store alphanumeric values, where value can be anything like number, character, or any special symbol, then we should go with the string data type. And string data type doesn't have any specific character limit. Okay. And if you want to store true false values, then we should use Boolean as data type. And in Apex, ID is the special kind of data type which is used to store 18 character Salesforce record ID. So if you are working with Salesforce records and want to hold record ID, then we should use ID as data type. And if you are working with binary data in Apex, like if you are working to convert or save any image or document, then we have blob data type over there. And if you want to store date values, then we should use date as data type, and date data type will only store date like this. But if you want to store date and time together or time only, then there are different data types available like date, time and time. So in that case you can use those data types. Okay. So these all are the basic and primitive data types we have in Apex. And now let's open our developer console and practically see how to declare and use different kind of data types in Apex. And now I'm in my Salesforce developer account, and as we have seen in previous video, if you want to open developer console, then we have to click on this gear icon and need to select this developer console option, and it will open developer console in a separate window. But if you want to open this in same browser window, then you can right click on this and select open link in new tab option. Now you can see our developer console opened in same browser in different tab. Okay. And in Salesforce, generally we can write Apex code in classes or triggers. I mean, to write and save Apex code, we have to create either Apex classes or triggers by selecting this file and new option. But if you want to write some code for just testing and don't want to save that code permanently into Salesforce, like if you want to temporarily write Apex code without saving into Salesforce database, then we can write and test code in execute anonymous window by clicking on debug and open execute anonymous window option. So once we'll click on this option, then it will open a modal box with large text area and some buttons. Now here we can write and execute code for our learning and testing purpose. So we can say this is our playground to learn Apex, where we can do hands-on practice. Okay. And now let's create some variables here with different data types. And let's say we want to work with employee data and want to store employee name in a variable. Then if you remember, if you want to declare any kind of variable, then first thing is data type. And if you want to store employee name, then name can contain any kind of character like numbers or characters. So in this case, we should select string as data type for employee name. So let's create employee name variable with string data type. Okay, so this is how we have created employee name variable with string data type and Rahul value. And now if you want to print this value, then in Apex we can use system.debug option. So this statement will print our employee name value in logs. Now to run this code, let's click on this execute button, and before that make sure to check this checkbox, else it will not open logs directly. And now whenever we'll click on this button, then Apex will compile our code and execute and automatically open a tab which includes all the logs which are generated during execution of this code, and it includes all the logs which are generated by system and user. But if you want to see only logs which are added by user, then you have to check this debug only checkbox. Okay, now you can see Rahul here. It means now you can see employee name variable value here. So this is how we can declare a variable in Apex, and with the help of this system.debug method, we can print our variables value in log. Okay, and now similarly let's create more variables with other data types as well to store more values like employee age, salary, date of joining. So for demo purpose, I have already created these variables here in my notepad. So let's copy this code from here and paste in our execute anonymous window. Okay, so here we have declared age variable with integer data type and is permanent employee variable with Boolean data type, because here value can be true or false. And to store salary we have used decimal data type, and to hold date of joining we have used date data type, and this is a syntax to assign manual date in date variable. Okay, and now here to store employee number, either you can use integer or long, it's depend on your situation. So if there is a possibility to cross integer range, then we should go with the long data type. And in long also, if we are assigning any value until the integer range, then we can assign directly that number. But if we are trying to assign more than integer range, then we need to add L after the value like this, else compiler will throw an error. Okay, so let me show you this thing in practical. Now let's select this line number and click on this execute highlighted button. So it will run only selected code. Now you can see our code is successfully compiled and run. But if I'll change that value to 8 and see again, now we can see illegal integer error. Okay, so it means if we are manually going to assign value into long data type and value is out of integer range, then we have to add L with value. Okay, so this is how we can declare and use primitive data types in Apex. Okay, and now next and important data type we have collections. So as of now we were working with individual or single details like employee name, experience, salary and date of joining. But now let's say we want to store employee skills, and employee can have multiple skills. So in this case, which data type we can use to store similar kind of multiple values? So that's where collections comes into the picture. I mean, collections are the data structure that allows to store similar set of values, or we can say multiple values of same data type in single container. And there are three types of collection we have in Apex: list, set and map. And in day-to-day programming, these collections are most important for developers to play around multiple logics. So I will create separate detailed video on these collections, which will cover all the insights related to these collections with practical examples. Okay, but for now let's discuss about each of these at high level. And if we start with list, then we can say lists are the ordered collections of elements that can contain duplicate values as well. So if we have a requirement where values can be duplicate and should be stored in the same way in which we have added, then list is the only option. Okay, and this is the example of list declaration. I mean, this is how we can create a list type variable in Apex. And there are multiple methods available in list to add, modify and remove items, and we will see those methods in a separate video with practical examples. And now if we talk about sets, then we can say sets are the unordered collection of unique values or elements. It means in set we can't store duplicate values, and also values will not save in the same order in which we have added. So if we have a requirement where we want to store only unique values, then we can go with the set. And also to add and remove items in set, there are multiple methods available, and we will learn them in a separate video. And now if we talk about maps, then we can say maps are the collection of key value pairs where each key will unique but values can be duplicate. It means in map we can store two values, one is the key and another one is the value. For example, we can store multiple employees with same name but their IDs will be different. So to store such kind of data, we can use map, and map is mostly used collection in real-time applications. So we will put more focus on this in a separate video. Okay, and now if you want to see high-level examples of these, then let's open our developer console again. And in my notepad, I have already prepared an example. So let me copy and paste that here. So in this example, first I have created an integer list and added few numbers with the help of add method, like 1, 2, 0, 48, then again 48 and 36. And similarly also created a set of integer values and also added same values here in set, and also added map in the same way. But in map we have to provide key and value. So here first we need to define data type for key, and then we need to define data type for value, So I have defined integer for key and string for value. So in key, I have added same numbers that we have added in list and set, and in values, I have just added some characters, okay? And here 48 is duplicate in all these three, like in set, list and map. Now let's execute this code and see what it will print. Alright, now here you can see three debug logs for list, set and map, and in list we can see data in the same order in which we have added, like 1, 2, 0, 48, 48 and 36, and also 48 is twice here. So that's what we have seen in definition. Like sets are the ordered collection which support duplicate values. So here ordered means values will be added in a sequential order. And now if you will see this set and map output, then data are not in the same order in which we have added. Like first we have 0 here, then 1, 2, 36 and 48, and also we can see 48 only once here. It means in set we can't store duplicate values, and if we try to add twice, then it will ignore value if already available. And similarly, as discussed in map, also keys are unique. Like here also we can see 48 only once, but with Z value. It means if we try to add multiple values with same key, then map will hold newly added value only. That's why it contains Z. Okay. So this is the high level example that we have seen in this video. But as I have said, collections are the important data types in Apex. So I will create separate video on each collection and will cover in detail with practical examples. And now let's discuss on next data type, that is sObject. So generally in Salesforce, every standard and custom object that is record data in force.com database are called sObjects. But in Apex, this is called data type. So as of now, we were declaring variables in Apex and assigning values there in code only. But now, let's say we want to work with Salesforce database to select, insert or update data, then how and in which data type we can hold those values or a particular row of data, then we can say sObject is the data type for that. I mean, if you want to store or hold a complete row of database data in Apex, then we can use sObject data type. Or in other words, we can say sObject data type is the programmatic representation of Salesforce database object, and sObject is the generic data type that can be used to refer any Salesforce object in Apex like account, contact and opportunity. And we can use sObject data type in two ways, either with sObject keyword or with particular object API name. And now let's see how to use this data type in Apex with the example. So let's copy that example from my notepad and paste in Enums window. So here in this first example, let's say we want to insert new account record in database. Then first we need to create an object of account object. So as I have said, we can use sObject data type in two ways, either with sObject or with particular object API name. So this is also fine. Like this sObject also can hold account object reference, or we can say any Salesforce object reference. So if you are writing any generic code for multiple objects, then we used to prefer this approach. I mean, in generic method, we used to declare variables with sObject type because this can hold reference of any Salesforce object. So generally in generic methods, we use sObject to hold any Salesforce database object. But if you have a particular requirement where we generally work on a single object, then we used to prefer object API name instead of sObject. So that's why we can use account here instead of sObject, because here we only want to insert account. So our code can easily understandable here. Okay. And now if we talk about second example, then here we are querying data from Salesforce database and holding these data into account one variable which has account type. Okay. And if you are working with custom objects, then we need to add __c after object API name. So let's say we have an employee object and want to use that object in Apex, then this is how we can use. And while object creation, if you want to assign values in the fields, then this is how you can assign the values. Like I am assigning Rahul here in name field. Okay. So this is how we can use sObject data type to work with Salesforce database, like to insert, update or delete data from Apex. So if you are a beginner as of now, then it will be difficult for you to understand this. But as of now, just try to understand about sObject data type and how to create variables using this. Okay, so in nutshell, if you want to work with Salesforce data in Apex, then we will use sObject data type. And now let's move on the next data type, that is user defined data type. So till now, whatever data types we have seen, those are out of box data types, or we can say those are created by Apex. But now let's say our requirement is quite difficult and cannot be achieved using any out of box data type. For example, as of now, we were storing data for only single employee, but now we have a requirement to store data of multiple employees. Then what you will do? Will you create similar kind of variables again and again for every employee, like employee name 1, employee name 2, and employee age 1, employee age 2? Then answer will be no. This is not a right way. So in case if we have a requirement that cannot be fulfilled using out of box data types, then Apex allows us to create custom data types as well using classes and enums. I mean, if we have a complex data structure, then we can create an Apex class and design our data structure into that, and finally we can use that class as data type. So in that our employee use case, instead of creating similar kind of multiple variables, we can create a class and define all the required data as properties. And now let's see an implemented example of this. Okay, so here we have declared an Apex class employee with all the required data properties like name, age, department, and salary. And after creating this class, this is how we can use this class as data type, and created employee1 object, and now assigned all the required values in this object, and similarly created employee2 object and assigned values. And in the same way, we can create n number of objects for this employee class and use these objects in program. Okay, though as of now we haven't covered classes and properties, we will cover them later, but for now just understand that how to use Apex class as custom data type. Okay, and in nutshell, user defined data types are used to group together related fields into single object, as like we have grouped employee details into single class and used that class as data type. Okay, and now next data type we have enums. So we can say enum is also user defined data type that consists of a set of named values, and enums are useful for representing a fixed set of related constants that can be used in code. Now let's understand more this with an example. So let's say we are working with products, and with each product we need to define color and price, but the thing is we want to allow only 3 colors for a product: red, green, and blue. So in this case, we can create a color enum with the help of enum keyword. Like instead of class keyword, to declare a enum we will use enum keyword, and under curly braces we can define all the possible values for this enum. So let's say as of now we only want to allow these 3 colors: red, green, and blue. And now whenever we will work with the products, then to work with product value, we can assign color from only these available colors, because we have defined this color property data type to color enum. So here with this product object, in color property we can assign only available values in the enum. So if we have a requirement where we need to define fixed set of constant for a particular thing, then we can use enum, and enums can make our code more organized and easier to read. Like here you can see, instead of typing red as a hard-coded string, we have used red enum value, which makes our code more organized, because now we can't use value other than these values, right? So enum is very helpful if you want to have fixed set of related values at a single place and refer from there in program. Okay, so that's it in this video, in which we have covered all the available data types in Apex, and I'll create separate video on each collection data type, because those are complicated and mostly used data types. And if this video helped you to learn something new, then please like this video and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you for watching. I will see you in next video.